Let's start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, content creation is a hard thing to do. All of us are slaves to a computer algorithm that pretty much leaves us a burnt out and anxiety-riddled mess. As you all know, I have to take breaks to deal with my mental health and to deal with life when it decides to kick me in the dick every now and then. During one of those depressive moments, I decided to hang out with my good friend Harriet. Some bubble tea, baked goods, and a metric ton of Asian sass later, she's giving me a controller and asking me to play an indie game with overwhelming critical appraise, Hades. At first, I didn't think much of it. Its map layout hurt my eyes, and the characters weren't doing it for me. And then I died. And then I started liking it. It's one of those things that can either be the game growing on me as I play more of it, or I'm a masochist. Either way, I'm not going to answer that statement. This one goes out to Hecate. Grab your weapons and fight your way out of the hell that is Hades. Let's go! Hades is a roguelike dungeon crawler developed and published by Supergiant Games in September 2020. Originally for the PC, Mac, and Nintendo Switch, it soon became available for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S after overwhelming demand. Supergiant Games, being an independent collective, doesn't have a game director, but was written by Greg Kasavin, art from Gen Z, and music from Darren Korb. Hades tells the story of Zagreus, son of the Greek god of the underworld, Hades. Zagreus has spent the entirety of his life in the pits of Tartarus and one day decides to escape to the surface. In order to escape, he'll have to fight his way out of every level of the underworld, encounter prominent characters in Greek mythology, and die many, many, many times over. Things might seem bleak, but not all is lost for Zagreus. He has help on the inside. Someone has decided to get in contact with the gods of Olympus, and they want to help get Zagreus out. As you complete rooms in the randomly generated map, Zagreus will get rewarded with a boon. These can range from godly boons that can positively impact your escape attempt, coins which you can spend during your attempt for items, darkness which can be used for permanent upgrades, dataless hammers which alter key aspects of your weapons during your run, and countless others that I will get into later. But first, let's get into the controls. Personally, I prefer console games because I am usually better with a controller in my hands rather than a keyboard and mouse. Luckily, Hades does have the option to bust out a controller and just go to town. For this particular review, I used a DualShock 4 controller for my PS4, yet the game would occasionally mistake it for an Xbox controller. You have a button for a primary attack, a secondary attack, a dash attack, which you can use to avoid attacks, a ranged casting attack, a button for an Olympic summon, and also a summon depending on what gift you have equipped. While these controls are quite simple to utilize, it'll be your skill and some good old-fashioned luck that'll determine how far you get. Even if you manage to battle your way out of the underworld on the first attempt, you'll still have to beat the game multiple times in order to get the basic ending. Each and every dungeon is procedurally generated, and outside of how many rooms you have to clear in order to face a boss, the benefits are randomized. Getting the right boons can completely make or break your attempt. This added element of chance and fast responsive combat is a massive improvement to Supergiant's formula, which they originally did with 2011's Bastion. I didn't play Bastion until beating Hades a couple times, and I'm going to casually say it. Hades ruined Bastion for me. I went from a semi-decent Hades player to a golden god in Bastion. Kneel before me, mortals! Look at the size of my E-penis!
Throwback jokes. I've got 'em.
Nearly each and every god boon you grab can change your escape attempt, and even if you don't grab something you like, certain gods have boons that when combined with another can unlock devastating duo boons. So even if you don't like what you got, if you stick with it, you can get some truly devastating attack bonuses. For example, combining boons from Athena with Demeter can allow you to regain 1 HP for every 0.8 seconds so long as you're on your last life. Not only do you have boons, but you might also stumble across coins that you can use to buy temporary upgrades from the boatman of the River Styx Charon, darkness crystals, which are used to make permanent modification to your escape attempts, hearts that temporarily improve your max HP, gems that renovate the House of Hades hub world, dataless hammers that can change a core aspect of your weapons, and countless more. Did I mention weapons? As you progress further, Zagreus will acquire more weapons that all have their own unique gameplay styles. I generally preferred the bow and arrow. but Hades will give you bonus gems and crystals if you decide to change your weapon to what the game recommends. Hades has an incredibly addictive gameplay loop where even if you might botch a run, there's still side objectives that you can accomplish and work towards, which is incredibly refreshing.
Not only is the gameplay loop addicting, but the story is well presented too. Outside the primary plot of Zagreus trying to escape the underworld, there's also multiple side plots going on that the player uncovers through making progress in the game. These plot points add intrigue on top of incredibly satisfying gameplay and makes it feel more than just Zagreus' story.
Yes, that's absolutely right, Harriet. Wait a minute. Harriet?
Matt?
Hecate?
Sonic?
Why are you here?
Well, first off, I recommended Hades to you. You started playing the game at my house. Of course I was going to get involved in this video.
Yeah. Okay, that does make sense.
Also, you used my summoning word.
Asian sass?
That too. Bubble tea!
Ah, let me guess. I don't get any say in the matter,
That'll be a large mango pomelo saga with tea jelly, 50% sugar, and less ice, please, and thank you.
Ugh. Coming right up. You do realize I'm...
Right, so where were we? Yes, the plot. In order to complete Hades, you need to beat the game multiple times. What makes this core element of repetition not feel like a grind is the outstanding gameplay, writing, and voice acting work on display. Hades manages to portray its characters as flawed, broken, and let's face it, morally ambiguous. It's the Greek pantheon. That entire mythology is a giant soap opera. Zagreus is brash, hot-headed, but also thoughtful, intelligent, and charismatic. Those qualities make him the perfect protagonist to win over his incredibly dysfunctional family. A lot of my praise goes out to Dan Korb, who did such a great job voicing Zagreus that I made a custom text tone. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message. Just naming a few of the voice actors would be a massive disservice to everyone who was a part of the cast. From Aphrodite to Zeus, the amount of vocal talent on display gets a gold star. Although, I will also mention the Furies sound odd. When in a sea of accents they feel American? Not bad, just more apparent than everyone else.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you fangirling, but you gonna mention the dating options in Hades or should I? Also, here's your bubble tea.
Ooh! Oh, you handle it. I'm gonna go enjoy this.
So like Harriet was saying, the voice acting is top-notch, but I wanted to isolate a small part of the game that tends to wind up in a lot of other games. Dating. Hades has essentially 2.5 choices for romanceable partners.
Really? You're doing a short person joke?
Actually, I'm not. You don't wind up with one of them, remember? Anyway, train of thought. Right. So, Hades kind of sort of turns this trope on its head a little. Whereas most games would make you go through dialogue options a la visual novel style or like Mass Effect, Hades does the stereotypical bribing your potential love interest via giving them ambrosia and then immediately calls you out on it. It's kind of refreshing. Almost like they're saying that giving people gifts isn't going to magically make them fall in love with you, but also since this is a game, you're going to have to do that anyway. The two choices you have are Megara, sister of the Furies, and Thanatos, the literal god of death. It's kind of like Lore Olympus, except everyone is emotionally dead.
Yeah, so basically nothing like Lore Olympus.
You also somewhat can romance Dusa, the Gorgon maid. She's not fully romanceable since she prefers to be friends, and frankly, I kinda dig this kind of writing. In a world full of games where players always wind up with their love interest, it's good to show that sometimes it's better to have a friendship rather than shoehorning romance and making you feel like it's a reward for your progression in the game. Real people aren't so cut and dry. We're unique, awkward, and sometimes end up on a completely different path. Out of the two choices you have as romantic partners, I went with Thanatos and basically left Megara to herself. You can romance both Megara and Thanatos because, you know, Greek pantheon. In my opinion, Megara didn't really feel like a healthy choice, and not because she's the first boss you fight, but because it really just feels like she's at work and is really just done with everything. Thanatos is quite pissed at Zagreus in the beginning, and upon reflection, he kinda has a point. Despite Zagreus leaving him behind to attempt an escape from the underworld, Thanatos shows up and helps. Sure, he acts like he's begrudgingly doing it, but he's also kind of helping someone who's just hurt him. Over time, you can repair the relationship and turn it into something more.
You really got into shipping Zagreus and Thanatos, didn't you?
This is all your fault because of all the pseudo-BL you've made me endure.
Last time I checked, I only made you watch 2 series, unless you've been watching more BL stuff behind my back.
Just shut up and give me your recommendations.
How the mighty have fallen. Sure, I'll give you my list after the review. Go talk about the music.
So for Hades, I'm just gonna go and say it. Everything is Darren Cobb, baby! Dude voiced Zagreus, Skelly, made all the music, sound effects, you name it. He even sang as Orpheus, which is just nuts.
Wait, really?
Yeah, seriously. He's been the composer for every single game made by Supergiant.
Bastion.
Yep, he's responsible for that Skyward Western soundtrack.
Transistor.
He's your mister.
Higher?
Knock knock, who's there? Corn on the cob, motherfucker! After listening to all those soundtracks, I think Transistor is my favorite, but there's something incredibly intriguing about the soundtrack of Hades. Mediterranean string sections, paranormal choruses, and what I think are keyboards, metal chugs of guitar, bass, and drums for boss fights. It's really one of those things that you don't think of unless it really f***s up. Each track in Hades is composed well and doesn't overstay its welcome, which is excellent since you're going to be hearing it over and over and over and over again. A vast amount of the soundtrack are instrumental songs, which help since instrumentals can be looped without being grating on the player. There are a few vocal tracks, but they are placed in specific areas where the player won't become sick of them, such as the main hall, Eurydice's place, and the end credits.
If there's one thing that can be said for Hades' level design, is that a lot of effort has gone into the distinct look and feel of each respective region of the game. As you play through the muted lime cobblestones of Tartarus, past the tropical and volcanic Asphodel, through the overrun teal gardens of Elysium, and finally the earthy subterranean Temple of Styx, it's apparent. Hades bleeds color.
The color is so oversaturated, it borders on tie-dye. Which is why I kind of find it odd the first area the player has on the surface world is a muted and snowy mountaintop.
Oh, that's simple. I got a possible answer for that.
Sure, let's hear it.
Having a muted white background is going to prevent you from being distracted when you fight Hades. This is a good decision since a lot of the attacks feel like a laser light show at a concert. It's all by design.
Huh, never thought of it like that. Since you're on a roll, why don't you talk about the character artwork?
Hades has well-drawn character stills that represent each character during the dialogue. But despite the high quality of artwork that's on display, it's a shame there isn't more variety.
Characters like Zagreus and Hades might have 3 to 4 different stills to show a change in their mood reflective of the tone, but the other gods and minor characters don't. That's a shame, since those other characters have moments where they do fight amongst themselves because, once again, say it with me folks, Greek Pantheon! What we do see, though, is well-drawn, shaded, and shadowed characters who all look varied and, most importantly, are racially diverse. It might seem odd for me to say that last bit, but I know some people who assume all of Greece is white because of the marble sculptures, and I really just don't know how to even begin with them. So yeah, the character stills are like something out of a graphic novel, but the lack of variety makes it feel more like a player's handbook.
As we stated before, Hades is a game you have to beat multiple times in order to unlock the ending.
After beating Hades the first time, the game will begin to unlock a variety of new features. For example, you gain access to the records room, which will keep track of your multiple escape attempts and hold significance for side stories. You gain access to the packs of punishment, which add difficult challenges that make your attempts even more nail-bitingly hard. Depending on the level of your pact of punishment, you also get the ability to use Infernal Gates to Erebus, where you have to perfectly clear out an entire room without getting hit. If you clear the room, you get a pretty good reward. If you fail, you get onions. Seriously.
The weapons also unlock hidden aspects that need certain conditions in order to trigger. These aspects pull from other religions and mythologies. Without spoiling anything, it's really cool to have an entirely new moveset inspired by another culture.
There are other aspects of the game that will unlock through repeated playing, such as an epilogue where, once again, we're not going to spoil anything. In summary, Hades is a fantastic game that doesn't overstay its welcome and actually makes you want to keep coming back. Its fantastic soundtrack, addictive gameplay loop, well voice acted, and Hugo Award-winning story make it a game that you should most definitely check out. Even if you're not a fan of roguelikes, there is plenty of enjoyment to have in Hades. Alright, so now that we've done that, I take it you have something else that you want me to review, Harriet?
Nope, you're completely free.
Wait, so we're done here?
Oh, I never said that. There will always be more things I'll ask you to review. For the time being, though, you'll just have to wait until I make my next appearance.
Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Well then, guess all that I can say is, I'm SonicMTD, and the underworld doesn't seem so tough when you've already been through hell. This video was proudly supported by Unsung Heroes of Patreon. Hey there, Matthew Tyler DeLeo, better known as SonicMTD, saying thank you so much for catching my video review of Hades. After 6 long months, we are back and we are better than ever, baby. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving me a comment in the comments down below so that I may grow. I would like to say thank you so much to my good friend Harriet Hecate Lee for lending her amazing voice, as well as No Clip Documentaries for their extensive coverage on Hades. Up here on this side of the webpage is going to be whatever YouTube recommends that you want to watch, and down here is going to be a playlist of my previous videos. So if this is your first time seeing me, maybe you want to see more. But either way, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. My name is Matthew Tyler DeLeo, better known as SonicMTD. Arigato gozaimasu, and later days.